I'm sure you were asked this in your career with those good Jet teams. Can you beat a team a third time? I think it's really hard.
Really hard.
I do think San Francisco has so much built-in institutional intelligence with their players. They're not going to be too hyped. If they were all good young stars, you get a little fall in love with yourself. But is there a formula that Seattle could give them trouble, having watched Seattle?
Here's part of the issue is there's 2 times in the league, in my experience, and I think a lot of players would agree, but where guys are really thumping, where they really hit, is playoffs, wild card weekend, and like the first day of the season, because you've had the pads on, you're tired, you're ready to hit another color uniform. So it's going to go in San Francisco. Levi Stadium is going to be rocking. All the juice you need is going to be right in that stadium, and it's going to be awesome. That plays so well into Coach Carroll's hands, because regardless of how it happened, right? He mentioned the Baker Mayfield pick, the penalties, the running into the punter. Was it a penalty? Was it not? It doesn't matter anymore, boys. We're in the tournament. Who cares? And right now, Seattle, in my opinion, is playing with house money.
Yeah.
They could have controlled their own destiny earlier in the year. And Pete, even when we were talking to him during the week leading up to the Rams game last week, was ticked about it. He was kicking himself for it. Like, man, we should really be driving the ship here and in control of our own destiny, not waiting on a, Detroit watch party. But here we are. So the third time you play a team, I mean, you got plenty of tape to coach from.
Sure.
They got to keep it close. They're going to have some sort of special teams play. It's got to be an onside kick. It's got to be a fake punt that gives them a free set of downs. And, once again, you're just playing with house money. Those 6 rookies that are starting for Seattle, can you imagine the experience they're going to get this year against potentially the Super Bowl champion in the wild card round? Like, who cares, man? Cut it loose. You got nothing to lose because we're not even supposed to be here. So cut it loose, have fun, take care of the football, Geno. We can't have any silly ones, but lock it. You know what to do. DK, go be yourself. Boys, hold up as long as you can up front because that's a heck of a D-line. And let's see where we go. And let's see what Brock Purdy does. Put some of the pressure on him.
Yeah.
Just get him into a couple third and longs. Hey, dude, good luck. Let's see what happens. You never know. And that's why you got to play it out. On paper,
Do you remember your
the 9.5
first playoff game?
Oh, God.
Brock Purdy's first playoff game. Do you remember yours?
We were on the road at Cincinnati. I remember Drew Weatherford, our punter, had heart palpitate, something crazy happened to him and he couldn't punt. So Nick Folk or somebody had to kick for him, or Feely maybe. But so we started freaking out. What do we do if we have to punt? And I don't know. There were just all these conversations going on and you're trying to focus. I remember Thomas Jones almost, choke slammed me on the field because he wanted me to hand him the ball on the goal line, and I tried to throw it to Jericho Cotchery.
He was mad at you?
I wanted to throw a touchdown pass in a playoff game. I thought that'd be cool. But Thomas Jones would have had to walk in laugher touchdown, and he was pissed.
Really?
Oh, yeah. He almost fought me in the huddle. He's like, don't ever do that again. I was like, yes, sir. You got it.
That's funny. So let me ask you, you were around McVay. He was coaching his butt off.
Oh, yeah.
I said this 2 weeks ago. He doesn't look like a guy that's hanging it up. I hear all these rumors. I don't know, Mark.
Listen, I think if he does decide to do it, they have a guy on staff who's already been with offensive staffs, defensive staffs, been a defense coordinator, been high up with the offense, been a head coach in Tampa before. It's Raheem Morris. I think it'd be a slam dunk.
Yeah.
But, if he comes back, he comes back, and hopefully he's re-energized and ready to go and ready to give it up for the team. And I think that's part of it is am I going to be my full self? Am I going to be completely, not that he's not committed, but am I fully there? Can I handle and weather these storms as we move forward? Or is it better for both sides to kind of take a break here? And if it is, I don't think anybody's going to fault him. It's just, hey, that's a grind, what he's been through.
Sure.
And take a step away, reevaluate, come back better than ever.
So here's Philadelphia early in the year, healthy, no turnovers. Now banged up turnovers. Miami was great early. They're falling apart. Seattle hot early. Does momentum matter? What's funny? March Madness. We all love March Madness. Sure. I saw a stat years ago that literally momentum means nothing. You can literally play awful basketball, but once you get into the tournament, it's almost like it doesn't matter.
Sure.
You think the hottest teams win the tournament. It doesn't work out that way. But NFL's different. There's a lot of physicality, violence, health is a big deal. In your history in the league, are you concerned that Philadelphia is not Philadelphia of 7 weeks ago, that Seattle sputtering, that does it matter? For you, did it matter that you were buttoned up? Or sometimes can you use poor play late? Dallas was awful Sunday, and use that to go, fellas, we got to be more focused. We were a disaster last week.
I think it's hard when your starters go out and play poorly in that last matchup, and, you're going to –
Dallas?
Yeah, so for them, it's – we need a quick little reset here. Let's have this come to Jesus meeting. Are we good? Nobody take this personal, but we got a job to do here. Let's tighten up. The teams that I was on, it was playoff mode before the playoffs.
Okay.
So those last couple games we had to win to get in, to secure a spot. And, thankfully the Colts sat their players one of the years. The next year we had to win to get in, I think. Or no, actually we sat the last week of the season. Brunell went out and played against the Bills and balled out. But a couple of the guys played for like a half or a quarter or whatever, almost like a preseason mentality. But I think for the NFL, the most important thing going into the playoffs, and I'd never had a bye week, I never had a home game, so I don't know what Philadelphia is feeling that way. I just know playoffs in general, you just want to be getting healthy. You want to you want to see on the injury report, like, hey, so-and-so's practicing today. He's good. And you see him in warm-ups, and it's not just warm-ups and then they go back in the training room. You're out there, and it's real. And it's like, oh, dude, did you see, did you see our left
Mike Williams Chargers is practicing.
Whatever it is, like, oh, did you see him in easy? He looks good. He looks good in warm-ups. Let's see how he does in the first rack of plays in practice. He looked good in third down. I like it. Let's go, Big Mike. That's the way the players kind of see it, So I think health is the biggest thing. And then for the guys that aren't healthy, it's like tape it on and let's go. Give us everything you got, because sometimes the illusion of that guy playing is, better than nothing.
One of the reasons that you and the Jets had success, you beat Brady and Manning, is that I believe by the end of an NFL season, do you have an identity? Your teams did.
Oh, no doubt.
Okay.
We're running defense, baby.
Yeah, so it's always been my knock a little bit on the Chargers. Herbert's great. What's their identity? The Giants are fascinating.
Oof.
So I think there's limitations. Total identity. Know exactly what they are.
Yeah.
I think they're a matchup problem for the Vikings.
That was one of the best games of the year earlier in the season. And it was only a couple weeks ago. So, and you look at teams the way, almost like I would liken it to Detroit. When teams played Detroit, even if they beat them early in the year, that next week, it was like that team that played against Detroit, the next game they had to play, they were like a shell of themselves. And sometimes they got blown off the map the next week after Detroit because they played them so physical. That's the way the Giants are. They played Green Bay in London. Whoever they played during the year, they'd leave you battered and bruised. You might have stole a W from the Giants, but they kind of kicked your ass.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they're tough. They're going to show up. They're going to thump. They're going to hit. They're going to leave it all out there. Third and medium to third and short. Daniel Jones is an extra runner now, and that dude's going for it. Like, he's got a lot on the line. Saquon's got it all on the line, and they showed up to play this year. Those guys are I was so just fired up to see those guys playing the way they played with all that pressure in that market. But, they did all right. They got to figure out a way to cover Justin Jefferson or just limit his productivity because he went off last game.
Yeah.
I know it was a long day for Fabian Moreau, one of the cornerbacks.
Also,
but he's also expecting help over the top. And so a lot of the stuff they did underneath, it's like a catch and boom, here comes the help. But he caught the ball already. You know what I mean? He's already doing what he does. So it was that was tough. The other thing I'll say is, you play against Wink Martindale, and it's just a Rolodex of coverages and pressures and fronts. Oh, hell yeah. When he was in Baltimore. You never see the same thing. We'd call it a grab bag of coverages. And so it limits what you can do on offense in some ways because you want stuff where where everybody's final destination and spot is, essentially. So think of like the number 5 on a die, like when you play dice. You want guys in specific spots. Exactly. So just because they're going to throw out so much stuff at you that you're not necessarily prepared for and bring out blitzes from 2-3 years ago that you haven't seen just to try and get a free runner. And as soon as they get one, you better block it up or they're going to keep bringing it. So it's it'll be a cat and mouse game between O'Connell, Martindale, back and forth, and how's Cousins going to handle it? Does he do a chuck and duck where you got a guy coming to your face, you have to get out of the way and boom, chuck one over the top, and there goes a cheap one for the Giants, free possession. Let's see what happens. So they barely lost by 3 points on a 61-yarder. So it's not like the Giants didn't give them a run. They were right in it.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.